Hey there, everybody. Things about ready to get crazy out there. Jay's promised by the end of this month, December 2020, to let all heck break loose. I'm coming in at the last moment, obviously, um, producing or at least submitting, uploading videos. The videos I want to upload, though, are primarily directed towards the Spiritual Foundation family members. I had a DNA ICU crank up back in September of 2017. So what I have to say is probably more applicable to anybody else since they'll understand more of what I got to say. Excuse me if I cough here. It's part of a metaphysical thing I'm going through. Anyway, um, I've got lots to say, lots I can say that I probably won't. It's the 12th hour. Um, again, the point where Jay's going to start doing stuff. And I understand why people are extracting, taking away their channels, or at least their videos away from the internet. I want to say, I'm very appreciative to Jay for allowing me to have a DNA ICUC. I want to get that out there. He doesn't like, as you know, he doesn't like thank yous. He says he just is doing his job. But I originally got into the metaphysical aspect of my life because I was hoping it'd help to resolve some of the issues I had in later life now at 68 years of age. I was kidnapped originally when I was young, and I'll probably produce a video on that. Probably that one in particular will direct it towards the general public who may or may not have interest in that, and how having a crank up may help them with some of the issues that arise out of that type of experience. Second person, though, I really want to give credit to. I mean, I can't say enough about this person. Her name is Burshu Onder. And the reason why I have to credit her for everything really that I've accomplished so far is because I took one of her videos to heart. And I actually made 2 videos on her. And I didn't upload them because they're a little bit schmaltzy. I don't want her to think I'm obsessive about her or what she has to say, but essentially she said it all. And that video, what is it, Oversearching the Internet. I saw that thing back in 2016, right before I decided to get a crank up from Jay. And it made all the difference in the world. I've just gone rogue in everything I've done. Everything I do metaphysically is on my own. I don't listen to anybody. And she basically gave me the navigational sage advice to believe in myself and to pursue everything on my own without looking at other websites, or channels. And I look at these things and I just for, I was going to say entertainment and amusement, and that just sounds condescending, and I don't mean it that way. I certainly have downloaded all her videos, which amount to, 9 or 10 at the most. She's extracted them off the internet, and I asked her why, and she explained it to me. And it's just her story to tell. It's not my privilege to explain it to the public, but I understand her point of view. But I was begging her to bring it back online, because that one video is, again, it's the Oversearching the Internet, I think is comparable to some of Jay's videos. I mean, it's just so profound. I actually made a transcription of that video, since I have a copy of that video from YouTube. And I'm going to, I submitted a copy to her. I think I'm going to post that thing and talk about it, post the transcription as opposed to the video. And I don't know if she's going to get angry at me, but that's okay. I'll smooth things over. It's so important to listen to this one video. Anyway, I'm kind of obsessing on this topic here. Let me move on. I have a question for you guys, and I'm directing all my questions and again all my information towards the Spiritual Foundation group. If you're GQ public and you're tuning in, that's fine, but really none of this stuff's going to make sense, excuse me, that I speak of, unless you've had a crank up. You've got to feel, vicariously, come into me maybe to get the drift of where I'm coming from. So let me begin. Question if I can, this is not the devil sign, okay? But you know what this is? In fact, let me show you what I'm doing something here metaphysically. And for you out there who are probably part of the 3,000 plus group of folks who've had crank ups before me, that is over 3 years, you may be able to see what it is I'm doing. Let me explain. I saw, well, no, let me explain what it is I did. I just circumnavigated each toe of my foot with my chi. I prefer to say chi as opposed to metaphysical energy because it's a one-syllable word. It's quicker to say. I did that with this finger, and then with this finger I touched my heart, I patted my heart, and this thumb right here, I did exactly what Jay did when he was speaking to Alexis, the Stargazer. Alexis the Stargazer has a homepage in which he has a video presentation of him speaking to Jay, when Jay revealed to Alexis that he was Source or something. And Jay goes like, he does something, and he touched the medulla of his head, of his brain. I just did that. And this is not intention, quote unquote, stretching out to reach parts of my body. This is purely Jay's energy, and I'm saying that because you guys know that he gave us an extra 30% jack up. It must have been, what, December of 2018 maybe? And ever since then, my metaphysical abilities have just exploded out there. The first 21 months that I had my DNA ICUC, I really was struggling. I mean, what I believe what was happening was, after having years of just kind of a crap life, to tell you the truth, and it's not all bad, but I mean, it's pretty sad. You know, physical problems, this, that, and the other. I think what happens is when you get cranked up, that stuff gets resolved or something. Gaia gets in there. She owns her body. That's what Jay said. She owns our body. She gets in there and she starts to filter things out. So I really was going through a metamorphosis of physiological problems for sure. Physical problems, anatomical changes. I'll get into that stuff in another video. Excuse me. I'll explain why I'm coughing here in a minute. Again, it's metaphysical. So it's a feeling that only people who have had experience with a crank up and stone energy can compare those feelings with this chi feeling I have. And you know, when we get cranked up, at least for me, I mean, I was vibrating off the frickin' cliff here. Yeah, it's really hard to sleep, and I don't know whether I was just oversensitive to it or not. And then when stone energy came along, which I experienced with star crystal lesonite to initiate my entrance into the metaphysical world. I'm being too verbose here, but essentially what I did was buy a piece of that high crystal star essonite from Deanna at the Spiritual Foundation, just to get a feel for, you know, what stone energy is all about. Once I felt it, that's a video in itself, come to think of it. Again, I've gone rogue and everything. I do everything differently from everybody else. I could not feel stone energy this way. I figured out 2 other ways, quicker ways to feel it. For people like me who are solar plexus energy based or centered, this might be helpful. You know, at this point, you know, with the mass of people out there that have had more metaphysical experience than myself, I mean, stone energy is a thing of the past. So, I can see it coming here. I am going through this thing, which I have to point out at the very start of this video. This may end up being a very long video as opposed to being partitioned. For over a year, maybe 14 months or so, I've been going through incredible dizziness. And Jay talked about this in one of his more recent videos, I remember saying this. He was on. It seemed as if he was almost embarrassed to say, like last minute thinking, um, education while he's ready to depart and cross the Rubicon or whatever. But he was saying, you guys might experience some dizziness and it'll last for 3 or 4 or 5 years. And I'm going, jeez. I've got this stuff so bad it's affecting the way I think, and again I can feel this dizziness. Well, obviously in my head, but definitely there's work being done up there. Source field J, and so I'm bringing this up only because you'll find me hesitating to speak sometimes. Because I lose track of what I'm saying. I lose my train of thought, and I miss simple words. It's not senility yet, folks, but just so you know. And I'm going through the same thing I think that a couple of other people are going through, and I'll talk about them if I can recall that I need to later on. But see now, where am I going with this? I lost my train of thought. Okay, so I'll pick up on it later then. So with all these people that have helped me and I've gone rogue, I continue to do that. And I know some of you have done that all out there as well. You don't rely on anybody telling you what to do. We all naturally, of course, know how to feel our metaphysical abilities and how to crank ourselves up. That said, what is important for me to explain today is the physics behind what I'm doing here. In ASL, or American Sign Language, that means I love you. Okay, simple as that. I only brought it up because, I only brought it up because I was doing 3 separate things with this one hand. The hand that can basically at this point illustrate my primary ability. Yeah. At this point, you guys know, astral projection, remote viewing, healing touch, that's all easy stuff. It's all easy stuff, right? I'm not swaggering. I'm just telling you that I acknowledge this in you, and I'm hoping that this is the case as well. Some people may progress quicker than others. I was a lagger in my own abilities. Gosh darn it. The first 21 months, there we go. I'm on track now. The first 21 months, it was all a physical thing that I was going through, the changes and hot flashes. And I mean, it sounds like a man's version of, what a woman would go through. And I don't mean that disparagingly, but geez, man, it was rough. Anyway, and then the last 19 months, I came into my own, and it all started about the first quarter, maybe let's see, March or April of 2019. I saw Jay talk about how he could see metaphysical energy coming out of his fingers, and I saw that, and I freaked out because it's like, dang, that's X-Men stuff, And he just kind of mentioned that offhandedly, and then he went on talking about something else. He's slick, though. I know Jay. He wants us to take ownership of our own abilities, and he really, in my view, he could talk more about the intricacies and the nuance of everything he's inculcating in us. But he's leaving it up to us, and then to do that. And in this case, he was doing it. I swear, I can feel it. So I took that idea and I go, hey, how can I nurture that and grow the same thing inside of me? And so I started playing around with it, and it took me months to feel what it is he was trying to do. And in actuality, I started out barely seeing the kind of Johnny Depp, Edward Scissorhands, fingertips, that she was coming out like that. You can see it. I'm telling you, guys can see it too. If you don't have that ability now, you will. It's just TOT, time on task. You can get it. So, I mean, I see it like that, and over a period of months, I've expanded it. I see it like 6 feet coming out of my fingers. And not only that, I see the chi coming out of my palm hands. the palms of my hands. And as the stuff just became part of a daily ritual of seeing and feeling, I started to understand the physics of what it is I've been doing since I was a kid. I've had part of this ability um, ever since I was a kid. That is, well, I better explain some more here before I get into that. Um, you see, it's in a word, it's not crouching tiger, hidden dragon. It's roaring lion, breathing dragon. Now, I mean, Jay's energy is in me, and I can feel it. And the strongest part of it is in the right arm. It would appear, he says it's stronger in the right hand, but seems about the same in my left hand as well. But it comes out of the hand. And I've come to learn that as I'm getting more and more into this chi thing, that is, once I enacted, spirited its growth in me, again, it's a different feeling of energy than anything else out there. And I can distinguish it between that stone energy and the vibration I have from original crank up. I take this energy and I'm doing incredible things with it. And everything I'm doing, you guys can do too. So I'm going to keep moving on here. What it is it intensifies whatever else is going on in my life or in my body. Back when I was a kid, I kept feeling bruises in my body, and that would come and go away, or I would feel little ticks or something, or movement in my skin, just something, you know. And it was because back then I even had this ability at low ebb. It was shooting out of my fingers. Every time I flash my fingers at my body, I'm feeling something. I mean, I'll point it at my toes or my feet, and I'll feel an injury that I had from 6th grade. It kind of finds the energy that comes out of my hands, finds the vector of that energy that's there in muscle memory, I guess. And then I'll feel just all this other stuff, you know, the injury, the sutures I had, having had a stomach operation at 7 years old, just on and on and on and on and on. So it comes in handy when I want to take a kind of a daily survey of what's going on with my body, because you can actually shine this intensive energy at oneself and see medical problems rise before they actually exhibit themselves openly. And so as a kid, you know, I kept, I guess, shining my hands at my body all the time, and I could never rest or relax without feeling uncomfortable, because those feelings would come up in me and just really bother me. Now it's very clear that what I'm doing is infecting myself, or I'm doing something to make them arise. And it comes up mostly when I'm in bed and can, you know, at rest, and I can feel my hands as I lay them flat on the top of the mattress there. You know, if the fingers are pointing at my toes, they start to warm up. Again, it's intensification, taking energy and intensifying whatever it touches. I can scratch myself with this stuff. It's kind of funny. I can, I know I'm digressing here, but when I drive my car and I put my left arm out the window just to cut through the breeze, and I put my fingers at my toes, it warms them up, and it comes in handy, you know, when it's a cold day or something. My driver's side window is broken, and I gotta fix it. It's just activator or some mechanism that needs to be shifted or bounced around. So I mean this stuff is kind of nothing. You know, what I'm saying is that if you understand how to actually actively produce this stuff, and orientate the frequencies of it, you can do amazing things. And that's what I did here with my hands. Let me explain the physics of this, okay? I figured it out, and then I got a hold of a book just by accident, Polarity Therapy by Dr. Randolph Stone. Which one is this? This is the first edition. I paid $6 for that. They're kind of pricey though if you buy them new. Then I got his second edition here. And the second edition you get for free if you download it off of archive.org. And I just looked at the charts. I haven't done any reading through it. Excuse me. And what his charts and illustrating polarities of the body confirm what it is I'm seeing and feeling. In effect, we have energy coming out of the tips of our fingers. I can feel it, I can see it. Same thing with the palm, the back of the hand, which Jay doesn't talk about, and each side of the arm. We're talking about a mixture of positive and negative polarity. Same thing with the left hand. And here's something that you guys should never forget. Ever, ever. When you are undoubtedly projecting energy away from your fingertips as well, you may not even notice it, but it's there. You are actually composing, you're manipulating the energy in such a way that you're changing the frequencies all the time. Think about it. Think about it. Energy right now in my palm is pointed towards the screen. I'm not experiencing that power of energy. The most powerful part of your limb here is the tips of the fingers, then the palm, and the back of your hand, and then both sides of the arm. But the strongest part of your energy is shooting up towards the ceiling. In this case, next level of energy is coming from the palm. And I'm not kidding on this, man. You can feel this for yourself. If you have a strong enough pineal and you put it up to the pineal, try testing it for yourself. You'll confirm what I'm telling you. So if you understand that that's metaphysical energy, you also know by default it's frequency. So here I am taking my hand, and I can manipulate it, orientate it into thousands of frequencies. And what's that got to do with anything? Well, at one point when I started to realize this and feel this as maybe as a structured way to project this out of my body, I then began to think, hey, how can I formalize it into something that can be measured? And I started looking around for maybe hand movements or something that I might be able to find as I don't know, some kind of a methodology for doing this. I looked into ASL, American Sign Language, and I'm learning that because I now have a vision that people can take this energy and communicate with among themselves. And that's why I'm going to be calling this video something like telepathic holographic energy production or projection or something of that nature, because that's what it is for people like the deaf-blind who have no hearing and no vision. They communicate by way of what's called protactile communication. They take ASL, and between themselves they communicate by touching each other, and they produce the signs. They're so sensitive. They're more sensate focused than anybody else that I could ever imagine, because their world is nothing but that. That's the way they interact with the world, by sensation. They can feel this stuff. Now, they don't have to, they can communicate, in other words, without touching each other. And I'm telling you, this is true. I'm able to I'm learning, words in the alphabet and stuff like that, and I can go through and do the alphabet, and I can feel that shape holographically inside of me. And the reason why I can do that, and the reason why you guys can do this, is because even our organs and the viscera and all the stuff that's in, our rib cage and gut responds to frequency. So if I'm shining let's say, God, I hate this. That's a T in ASL. If I'm shining a T at my gut, even out here in front of me, 2 feet out in front of me, I can feel that shape. And the reason why I can feel that shape, of course, is because the organs, they respond to that energy. But also because there's something to be said about, the only way I can define it is the nodes of how this energy is projected towards me. That is, if you see that, this thing, oh gosh, I hate this. This finger is more or less pointing um, energy at me that's stronger than this right here, which is pointed mostly away from me. And so I feel this energy first. It's hard to explain. And I think some of you will tap into this right away and understand what I'm driving at. Still defining a lot of what's going on here. And this is new stuff. Where in the heck are you going to read about this kind of stuff or see this? If you know of a resource that I can go to get even more clarification than what I have here, let me know. Because so far I don't know where I would go. But anyway, I practice feeling the frequencies from my ASL language. And it's not to say that it'll take over protactile communication, but it should be at least an adjunct or a complementary form of communicating that these folks can use. And I should probably provide links below showing how people who are deaf-blind communicate using protactile communication. I think they're gonna go crazy once they're cranked up and they learn the art of producing these frequencies with their hands. Essentially, they can. I'm thinking that they could communicate, separately to each other and maybe across the room. This chi ability in me, it gets stronger and stronger every day, and measurably stronger. I can feel it getting stronger, only because I can manipulate it in so many different ways. I mean, folks, when people talk about feeling your chi balls, those aren't the balls you're feeling, man. You're feeling a repulsion of positive and positive energy here, and you can prove this yourself because at some point you'll see the energy, the chi, float over the tips of your fingers and beyond your hands below here. You're just feeling resistance, and people say that or teach the idea that that's how you promote metaphysical energy in you, and I don't know how they come to that conclusion. I think I was reading somewhere that idea came up around the turn of the 20th century. The idea that you feel your chi balls, your chi balls, and all of a sudden your whole body will be swarming in chi. Now, in a way, and you know this, if you're cranked up with all kinds of abilities yourself, sometimes what we feel inside of ourselves is so undefinable. It's ineffable. That's the correct word for it. It's hard to describe and put definition to it. It's there. And the struggle I have is, after producing 20 films, thinking how I would ever put this material out to the public, you guys, first. I just decided I'm just going to have to struggle with it. And I have to tell you, this is only the beginning of what I'm showing you here, because I've got to make a statement here. It sounds like a what is it, a braggadocio, or it sounds like I'm swaggering, but it's not. Folks, we're all doing this metaphysical thing wrong. I'm telling you. You have to believe in what I'm saying. Once I started practicing feeling this stuff, every day I feel a section of the body, and I tune in and hone in on all the little itty-bitty feelings that would arrive, like from the contact of my chi, projected on the surface of my body and going through the body, actually, right? It's the nuance. It's the nuance of that feeling that we need to grab onto to proceed forward, to grow metaphysically. People who don't understand that it's all growth in your metaphysical abilities all stem from the nuance, they're going to struggle forever. I'm not talking about you guys, but I mean people who are out there thinking that they go from video to video trying to find the secret methodology for becoming more aware. And it's all within themselves. It's something that Breshew taught me a lot. Just believe in yourself. Just feel it for yourself, no matter how hard. And believe me, there were times when I thought I could, in my first 21 months of being cranked up, that I could find the answers on some other website, not necessarily people who've produced, these wonderful, wonderful videos, who are members of the spiritual foundation, like, there was Bershu, there was Sam Sylvain, there's, obviously Alexis the Stargazer, and Johnny Don't Play, although he's more political, more alien than anything else in his informational stream. It all goes back to feeling what they have to convey, and the thinking behind what they're saying, which for themselves has been very difficult. If you look at, for example, Alexis the Stargazer, guy's got huevos, man. I'm telling you, I have great respect for him, because he came out with that first video of his introducing himself to the world, and he got a stream of viewership on there, and he got a lot of viewership, and then it tapered off, and I came to the conclusion it wasn't really anything that he said that was disappointing or something, but he's a true explorer in the sense that he's immersed. He's immersed, the way I view him and sense him. He's immersed in his abilities all the time. I learned that from him. Don't just, practice this metaphysical stuff 20 minutes a day. Stay with it, stick with it. And you'll notice in his videos, he really struggles to explain himself. Again, it's the ineffable side of the transformation he's going through. And there's one video in particular, it freaked me out. He kept saying the same thing over and over and over again. I kept asking myself, why? He was straddling between the second and the third, okay? And he's trying to feel what it was like to be over there. And it's like, I don't think people picked up on it. I don't know how many what the viewership count was with that, but aside from the fact he's trying to be innovative in his instruction, I don't think people are picking up on that. I think they should give him credit for that. Aside from the fact is, he mentioned in one of his videos that he has 17 spheres, the ones that Che and Diana cranked up, and it's like, that guy is super, super powerful. Hey, think about it. I only have 2 spheres. I got the Max Metavision and the Max Multidimension. I can't have them in the same room with me anymore. They're just too strong. I tried the other day. I put them away for a year. And I brought them out, and within 2 days, it's like, I can't sleep. I'm just vibrating so much. And you guys know, if you have your own, spheres, these stones, man, I don't know, man. They're just too hard to handle. So I got to keep them at a distance. And in fact, to tell you the truth, as I'm practicing my own chi, trying to find new avenues of where it can go and what I could produce with it, and and feeling the changes in my body as it starts to seep deeper and deeper in, I think it's better not to have stone energy around. You need to not kind of wallow in the mix of everything. You need to separate and distinguish these metaphysical feelings to such a degree that then when you understand the difference in them, then you can go back and have stone energy around. Now, that said, I've got some of this stuff here lying around, and I've got some high crystal star essonite here. And, I feel that as something coming from my left side over here. But it doesn't bother me. I can feel that, and I can feel the chi going through my body. Excuse me, I had a soda here, which isn't obviously the most healthy thing, but I'm getting all this burping for some reason. Which reminds me, the things that I'm figuring out have that are happening to me have everything to do with the constant hand movement of directing the chi into me. When I direct the chi towards my throat, I cough, particularly when I have a cell phone. I have a cell phone. See, there you go. When I have a cell phone in my ear, I'm just constantly coughing, 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 because it affects my throat somehow. I mean, with the lungs or something, obviously. But there is no expectation of what's to come. I mean, at any moment, I can expect um, uh, something to happen that I would have no anticipation for. And part of the art of growing your metaphysical ability is to be open, again, to the nuance of things that can happen. Now, Aya from the Metaphysical Awakening crew, yeah, the channel on YouTube and the website, she's really good at in her instruction sets, and she brings up these creative things about what you can do once you're cranked up. You know, talking to Are or Jare or Lily and plant interaction and this kind of stuff. And when I look at her videos, it really inspires me in that I just try to be loose and creative in what it is I'm doing. Now I'm kind of belaboring this stuff a little bit. I should move along at maybe a quicker pace, but the art of learning, I believe, has a lot to do with staying away from the transactional states that we're all used to living in. That is, give me your shite now. I've got things to do, people to see, places to go to, that kind of stuff. We've been socially engineered by the media, the radio, the TV, and the movies. We're looking at all this stuff, hearing all this stuff at warp speed, that we're so used to wanting to grab information and run, besides the fact that we've got hectic lives. The direction I want to go, even with my subsequent videos here after this one, is to slow it down and talk about always the nuance of things. Sam Sylvain was spot on about that. And he's taken away his videos on his Fae experience. And I think I downloaded those and have got to look at them. But I don't know whether he extracted them because he was lingering, and people didn't pick up on the fact that it's all in the nuance, man. You gotta hook into it and listen to it. But probably there was something there about it that deterred him from wanting to produce more videos about the Fae. I mean, this guy, he talks about stuff I don't think you'll ever hear anywhere else on YouTube. And that's where I get a lot of this, information. Sometimes a lot of the stuff comes in my ear, one ear, and go out the other. And again, I'm trying to do my own trap. Plus the fact, some of you are doing this as well. You've gone rogue, and you're trying to see what it will be like in the process of following your own journey that you by intuition. You're trying to see what's going to happen out there, perhaps, when Jay ultimately cranks up the world. That thought occurred to me back in the first quarter of 2019 as well, when he started to talk or remind us that he was going to cross over and crank up the world. Well, people anywhere in the world, if he can do this, are going to start feeling their energy, and they're not going to know how to interpret it. So what are they going to go through? So essentially, I am going through, and you're going through, perhaps, this experience. The first 39 months now, I've been able to slip by and really not lean on videos for the direction I want to go, or to give definition or the scope of what I'm trying to do, because you know yourself, some of the stuff can get kind of weird, what you feel. I'm at that point now. I need to refine what I'm going through, because I have it in mind to approach the deaf hearing community folks and see if I can pass on what it is I've learned about projecting energy. I think it's very doable. I need to somehow align myself or hook up to one of the source people out there who can crank up other people. And right now everybody's on sabbatical because of all the stuff, crazy stuff that's going on in this world. You know, this is post-election. You know, there's a conflict going on out there in public. If not, you know, we got a tanking economy that's looming on the horizon too. So, you know, I understand that. But at some point I need to hook up with somebody who is source, teach them what it is I know, the refinement, all this stuff. I haven't told you guys everything because, for obvious reasons, you're playing with your meridians, okay, and you can really f yourself up if you don't know what you're doing. Caveat emptor, you know, when I shine this stuff at my ochlea in my ear, it's like knives are stabbing me. You know, they will explode. There's no doubt in my mind. So I keep the energy away from them. And that's not saying, you know, I can comb my hair and all that kind of stuff. But I feel the energy. I feel the energy that she building up. And when it gets to be too much, I get a signal not only from my spirit guide, but you get to the point where you can hear the energy. And that doesn't seem so fantastical when you understand this energy is frequency, and your ochlea are responding to frequency. And you can tweak them. And, you know, when I'm in bed and I'm lying on my side, I got my arm lying on, you know, one of my sides there. My fingers are pointing towards my toes, and, you know, they start to ache because the energy's coming out, and it's building up. And particularly builds up when I cross my legs. This is important to know, by the way. Don't take this information lightly. When I cross my leg, it's like an electrical shunt. The energy builds up and begins to hurt. So there's some complications. I mean, this and other stuff that I'm finding. When I shine it too much on any of the pain that I'm going through, physical pain, trying to heal it, which I can't agree. I'm not an expert, but I'm looking for the smoothing out the frequency. You know, you probably do this yourself, and you've had training through, I don't know, the Healing Touch community or Healing Hands or Quantum Touch community. I found that the way I'm healing myself is 3D fashion. This chi is coming out of both hands, and I can put my body in between these two hands, and I can manipulate the energy in such a way that when it feels just calm, when it feels soothing, I'll keep it there. And when the energy starts to make my body turn around and ache again, then I remove them. In the beginning, when I tried to do this, like with my left hip, I actually would F my hip up. I'd be out of commission for 3 days. I'd be hobbling. It was just too much energy. Now, let me explain something. When I heal myself, the effect of it takes place usually 24 hours later. And that's what happened essentially when I went to a consult, or had a consult with Siobhan in Ireland. And I've been going through years of agonizing sciatic pain in my right leg. And I only got together with her. I didn't need to be cranked up, but I got together with her just to see if she could heal me. And she did her thing. It was off screen. I don't know how she did it, but I'm imagining it was both a mental operation, you know, seeing perhaps charts of my energy holographically and manipulating them. But it took me gradually over a week for that pain to disappear. So what it is I've discovered is, now that I understand that direct confrontation of a pain in my body can't take much of the strongest part of my fingers for healing. Rather, I use the back of my hand. It's easier to put the back of my hand, if I can get that on screen here, just put the back of my hand at the lower L4, L5 area. And man, I drift off to sleep that way, and that's just the right level of energy, and it's really soothing. It feels so good. And for the GQ public, general quarter public, GQ public, you know, they won't be able to understand all the stuff I'm telling you until I get that crank up. And who is cranking people up these days? People are departing. Bershu's on sabbatical. Aya and Hitomi are still cranking up people. I don't know what happened to Gavin. He's not on their website anymore. But I don't know who else to refer people to. Somebody should put out a video on a directory of source people. And you know yourself that Jay used to have a listing on his home page of the Spiritual Foundation of all the people who are source that he's cranked up and who are teaching. They're off out there somewhere. They're MIA. And right now, Siobhan is retired, maybe. She's incommunicado? No. Is that the opposite of incommunication? Can't recall. She would be someone I'd highly recommend to go to. She's just brilliant at her ability to be an effective consultant, and she's just a fabulous, fabulous person. But I don't know why she's keeping a low profile. She's not on the internet anymore, so I don't know what to say. And she doesn't respond to my emails. She's got a new email. Somebody out there is probably in touch with her. And I don't know if you're in touch with her. Please let me know if she is receptive to me. I want to get her involved with learning the stuff that I have to offer. And source people, they don't know everything, okay? And that's not a rag on them. It's just there's so much to learn, so much to experience. So of course they may not know stuff that other people can do. All I want to do is pass this on to source people, because really, the best way to pass on this ability to the deafblind community is from them to a teacher who knows protactile communication, who then in turn can communicate their chi to a cranked up deafblind person. So all I want to do is ignite the fire and get things going. So if you out there know of any source people who'd be willing to teach this to others, particularly if they have a background of ASL, American Sign Language, please leave a note below, because I'd like to spearhead, maybe even an organization built around this stuff. Well, I'm digressing in all these different areas, but essentially, once I learned the physics of what my hand can do, just the process, for some reason, of being able to do that has really ramped up my other abilities. Astral projection. I went from 2D to 3D to holographic astral projection. That's a mind blower. You can go on vacations with that stuff now. It's so intense. And I just regularly, I start off when I do astral projection, if I do it, I go to the left bank of Paris. There's a fence there in front of a Notre Dame, and I like to wander around that fence because it's got this curlicue ironwork to it. I think they call it filigree, maybe. This ironwork, and I like to wander around it. It seems to be good exercise for all the other stuff I do. I look at the spider webs there and the dirt that's lying on the surface there. It's got 6 layers of paint. It's chipping in some places, and I can see it. But in the process of doing that, I'm also amping up the remote viewing thing. And I'm assuming everybody knows how to do that. And I'm not a whiz-bang at it, but you're doing it when you're starting to see advanced technology, stuff you probably shouldn't be seeing, and then you see ships and all kinds of stuff. You might think it odd, but I don't have any interest in remote viewing. I'm just so tuned into this idea of developing and honing my skill at the chi, feeling inside of myself. Like I can wander inside my body now, and I can see every crevice, creek, crack, nook and cranny, even a hole in my body. And it's not so fantastical. What I've learned it is that I'm doing is that over the years, you know yourself, you've looked at anatomy books and you've seen the anatomy of a foot, the ligaments, the fascia, the arteries, all that kind of stuff. From the foot to the calf to the torso to the shoulders, your arms, your brain even. You remember all that stuff. You may not realize it, but you remember all that stuff. So as I'm shining my chi at myself, oh God, there's so much information I need to impart. As I'm shining the chi at myself, I'm intensifying that contact to my body, and I can actually see inside of my body, and holographically, meaning from any angle, I can turn things around and view it, and it's fun. It's like part of the innate inventive process I go through when I create things for marketing. Um, and then as I'm starting to practice stuff, I notice. Let's say I'm in the middle of seeing something holographically, and I can see it on my mind's eye, okay, and I can feel it, and I can taste it, I can smell it. I work on that. I put all these senses together when I reach out um, away from myself. I found out that I can just, excuse me, if I'm in the middle of feeling something and all of a sudden I get distracted and I turn away and I look at, I don't know, maybe, there's a noise over there and I come back. My left hand actually is like a page break or a bookmark to that feeling, and I can come back to that same feeling without losing it. It's really cool. I think it's cool, actually, or at least to me, I guess I should say. But you find little evolving techniques along the way that just not only mystify you, but just propel you forward. You just seem so excited about what's next on the horizon. And the thing I haven't explained, and you probably notice it in my hand movements, I'm absolutely convinced that people who haven't been cranked up will never feel the intensity of what it is I feel, what it is you can feel, because they've been taught to move their hands like this. Mostly. I mean, I'm only relying on the videos I see on YouTube. And you have the grand masters of Tai Chi and all that, and moving like that. It's only when you begin to recognize that you separate your fingers, that you push forward in a multifaceted way, more so than just with your fingers closed. When I use my hands like this to manipulate my chi, my metaphysical energy, essentially I'm muting the full power of what I've got. It's only collectively all this stuff, because the fingers are together, coming out like this. When I separate the fingers, it feels as if, and I never did talk about what I feel when I feel this chi, huh? If it just feels like air pelting me. I go like that with my fingers. I feel like if I direct this at my body, I feel kabong, 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 and then kabong. I feel it like, those gardeners use those backpacks for blowing with a motor that blows the leaves and grass off the lawn. That's what it feels like coming out of here. It just feels like air, and like a heat lamp as well. It's a mixed combination of a feeling that I feel with each hand. And if you noticed, I haven't gone to the extent of explaining how I actually activated the chi feeling in me. That I'm going to allow you guys to figure out. You've gotten more of a lead on how to promote this stuff in yourselves than I ever got. I just relied on Jay just saying he saw, his metaphysical energy coming out of the fingertips. Well, it's more than that. You have to take ownership of this ability. It's part of the struggle. The struggle is everything in developing ourselves, and you have to agree with that. If you're spoon-fed everything, where's the pleasure in that? where's the nuance you're going to find in it along the way? You know, the dead alleys that you go to that you shouldn't have gone, and there's no response to. You know, I fumble at my words. You know, it's just, gosh, it's hard to define this stuff. Um, so you will learn actually a lot more about that as you conduct your own chi. Anyway, along the way, all I can say is, as you start to produce these chi feelings in you, and I'm sure you have, you know, I don't mean to belabor the fact, but you know, you probably all have this energy. You just need to somehow formalize it in a structured way, and that's what I'm giving you here when I talk about polarities and the strength of it from different parts of your hand and arm. It might help you proceed forward in your own direction, wherever that may be. But having loose fingers. In the beginning, you practice with your fingers together. That's essential. And once you begin to recognize that feeling, which I did from, I'll give you one point here. Somebody else, some other guy, I don't think he's been cranked up, but he's on YouTube, and he actually has been practicing feeling his metaphysical energy like that. But it's more than that. You got to keep getting creative in how you practice that, and you'll find your body opens up to it more and more, and that's where you need to go before you can feel the full extent of it. Right now, I mean, I just shine this stuff at dogs, and they just, ooh, they love it. I mean, I'm their best buddy. When I pet dogs, I don't just scratch them on the ear or something like that. I give them full body rubs, and man, they run after me. They run after me whenever I see them, because they feel the warmth of this chi. And so I don't doubt that other people have this ability, and even more so out there. I just don't know where to go to see it, and learn from them, and vice versa, I guess. So keep your fingers loose. Be creative in your approach to feeling it. What else can I say? Oh, extremely important. Extremely important. Another reason why I'm convinced that many people with good hearts, good intentions, the best of intentions, don't really get other people going with their metaphysical energy because they're doing it too quickly. I discovered that as I've been practicing, or while I was practicing my chi, or articulating the frequencies of my hand, that the slower I go, like in movement, while noticing the change of frequencies that I could feel inside of myself, the slower I got, the more this ability would advance forward as well. I mean, I'm moving my hand a millimeter at a time, and it would probably take me 5 minutes to move the hand around to not face me, or to face me actually. But I move it a millimeter at a time. Absolutely essential. Essential that you do this, because it awakens the body somehow quicker, rather than just moving your hands like this and thinking, oh, I've got the power and it's gonna come and I can feel it. No, I'll use that word over and over again. It's the nuance that you're looking for and to experiment with, and that's what made Sam Sylvain so good. He was always introspective, and I wish he'd get back on YouTube. I mean, his stuff I thought was really great, and I don't mean to obsess over him as well, but what time is it? I'm getting to talk too much. I probably should cut this short. But I'm not sure what else I can say that is of great instruction than what I have now, because everything else that I've learned by practicing this stuff. We're all going to respond differently to it in some measure, form. So your challenge is to, if you decide to take this ability and see what it does for you. Yeah, being able to project frequencies may be something you could do to, I don't know. I mean, spiders freak out when I aim this stuff at them, and they're crossing the ceiling, man. Little baby spiders, man. They'll come up to me straight up, and then when I shine it at them, I just go off like they're drunk or something. It's kind of funny to see. But I mean, all this small stuff comes up, and it's trying to put it all together in one cohesive package, so that not only you understand it, as a methodology, an approach to something even greater. I'm still in that process of learning myself and evolving. So all I can do is give you the best tips on how to move forward with it yourself. And by the way, we haven't even talked really, or I haven't even talked really about healing hands and how I came to be able to heal myself, find the vectors of pain. Here's something that's really interesting. I know I'm lingering, but this is really interesting. I've got displaced nerves in my gums and my teeth for some reason, in my mouth. And dentists have always had problems giving me Novocaine, one-shot Novocaine injections to numb uh, the gum. And I'm only lingering here because I really need to point my talk here towards the idea that because I feel things differently in my gums and can only convey to the dentist information that may be misdirecting to him when he tries to diagnose my problem with a tooth or whatever. I can now take this chi, and in 3D fashion, I can locate the vertex of it. If the pain is diffused throughout the gum line, the only thing I can do is tell the doctor, hey, it's there somewhere, right? Or the dentist, excuse me. But now when I do the 3D chi thing, I hone in, and with laser-like inspection can find the epicenter of it. And last year I found that it was number 14 tooth that I had that was a problem for me, and he fixed that. But here I am talking about all the nitty picky stuff that I'm doing with it, and I understand. Some of you might go, so what? But it's I'm on the path of something. I don't know what it is, and it's that greater feeling that something's going to come. Maybe I'll be another X-Man or something. I mean, I thought about that. What do? Go to Xavier School of Gifted, senior division, and apply for entrance? If it ever exists there in New York. But I don't know what more I can do than just kind of stumble around. All the stuff I'm doing now, quite definitely, public can't do without a crank up. So from that perspective, yeah, this is great stuff. Well, you guys out there who've got many, many more years experience developing your own abilities, I mean, probably the stuff I'm telling you is just Mickey Mouse. But there's some things that you have to admit that I've been telling you that may be important for you to learn and take off with. But God, there's just so... I can't... Anyway, I'm lingering. I don't know if this will be the video that I'll ultimately upload to YouTube, because I found that I'm still having to find my style in talking in these videos. As I said, I've got at least 20 videos out there that I've already scripted and produced that I haven't uploaded. So who knows? Anyway, again, I'm going to come back. I've got to talk about stone energy, how I found 2 new ways of learning it, feeling it, for those people who are really having difficulty coming on board with it. I've got to talk about being kidnapped when I was a kid and how ultimately having a crank-up may be of great benefit to them. I've got to talk about my Fae experience. Those buggers, I'm telling you, they can be problematic. I live in a forest, you know, and they're always perving me, man. I tell you, they're really slick. And I got to tell you about those experiences, and you'll laugh. And some things I have to say, you know, about them. I mean, they're good-spirited, but geez, not while you're sleeping, man. Come, give me a break. Spirit guide experience. I experienced a spirit guide contact differently, for sure, different than other people out there. My spirit guide is, it's a she. She was telling me that. I never knew that until she told me. But she's got a good sense of humor. She likes Bill Burr, Dana Carvey, great comedians. Who else does she like? Robin Williams. I'm watching their videos on YouTube, and she's there tapping on my shoulder. You know, like, God, man, they're funny. So she's really chill. Anyway, I'm gonna head out, and maybe I'll upload this to YouTube. Maybe not, but certainly you'll see other videos from me in the future. Arrivederci, as they say in Italy.